Two men with thought-provoking intellect, a rousing discussion with a hint of humor. He says this, I say that, with a host that...
Bruh, it's a podcast.
Hi, I would like to welcome you all to our latest episode of Bruh, It's a Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney. We got our two podcasters, you'll see why later, Q&E with us. How are y'all doing today?
Yo, what up? You've been podcasters for about, 16 weeks now?
Has it been that long?
This is actually 17.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, man.
I can't count.
That's not that long, man. I mean, my prison bid was a nickel.
You gotta stop talking about this.
Courtney, have you had a longer relationship than 16 weeks, Courtney?
No.
Yes.
No.
I had longer than Q was in jail because that is non-existent.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
All right. Well, first, you guys got to ask me, why did I call you guys podcasters?
I know it's some silly millennial reason, so I don't know, but I'm sure.
Oh, man.
I'll play along.
Okay.
Courtney, why are we podcasters?
The reason is we have a guest, and he's a podcaster as well. That way, I thought it was fitting that we're all in the same playing field.
Oh, so we're just like everybody else, you're saying?
No,
Yeah.
But today we are. Today we're all in the same. We're everybody.
Today we're like everybody else.
Yeah,
bring them in. Just bring them in.
Today we're like everybody else, huh?
Yes.
So you bring someone in, and we're just like them on the same level. Is that what you're saying? We're all the same.
All right, I'm going to take E's advice, and I'm going to bring him in now.
I'm a caster, you're a caster. He's a caster, she's a caster. Wouldn't you like to be a caster, too? That's what you're saying, right?
Podcasters matter, man.
Oh, God. I told you to stop doing that.
I don't know what we're about to bring our guest into, but I hope he's ready.
Oh, gosh.
All right, guys. So I'm going to introduce our guest. We're really excited to have him on the show. So I want you guys to just remember, play nice. He's a fellow podcaster, so we're really excited about that because this is the first time. So I would like to welcome David Yontef. He's the host of the podcast Behind the Velvet Rope. He's going to be joining us today. He's already here. David, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great, man. But Courtney, you give him more than that. This guy's like the godfather of reality podcasting, and you just like introduced him like he just walked into the grocery store. Come on, man, pep it up a little.
See, what you guys are failing to realize, when I introduce you guys, I'm monotone. That was me at another level. That was the ultimate level of respect right there.
I mean, I expected that. Here goes David.
Like something.
Like that.
Jeez, Courtney.
Jeez. You know what? We're going to switch roles. We have one of the best podcasters out there. He's joining us here this week, and we're so excited to have him. David, let them know. Here goes David.
That's much better. You see that, Courtney? Take notes.
I'll write that one down.
Okay. That one I like. That one I really like. I'll take it.
Yeah, Courtney, hit him with the first question.
All right. So, David, how this is going to work, you are going to be our leadoff hitter for today, okay? We're going to go through these topics. Our mystery platform gives us the most discussed or the most searched topics in the world. We're going to go through the topic. You'll lead us off. Let us know your thoughts. If you have information on it, the better. If you don't know anything about it, that actually might be even better than knowing about it for this episode and for our podcast. So we're really excited to get you started, all right?
Let's do it.
There was a problem in the world. There was a football team in Washington, and they had this very, very, very big problem. They had a name. It was racist. So the world has been letting them know for years, change the name. And they made a decision. And instead of them picking another name, they decided to name their team football team. This is not fake news. Instead of just acknowledging that they had a racist name, instead of just doing anything possible to find something that works for the people and for the fans, they decided to name their team the Washington Football Team.
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, I want to know your thoughts. Is that just the best name ever, or are you on board?
Well, here's the thing. Let's just first of all start with the fact that I'm not a huge sports person. So let's just start with that. Second of all, I do think it's because people have been saying for years that their name was racist. So I just think, 2020 apparently is just the year of everything coming to a halt. You know what I mean? Like, because this has been going on for a while. I don't know how many years, but I know it's been going on. Like, I'm not a sports person, and if I've heard of this, then it's been going on for a while. It's interesting how now in 2020 we're finally addressing all of these like racial issues that people have been bringing to people's attention for a really long time. As far as the name, you're going to be shocked. I think it's a great name. In a way, it's so arrogant. It's so just like, like we're the Washington team. So I feel it's kind of brilliant if you really think about it. I'm like all for it. I'm sensing you guys hate it.
Well, hate might be strong, but I don't think that they put as much time as they had into it. That's what I'm going to say. So we all know that the racist name was the Redskins. They could have called themselves the Pigskins, right? Because, the football's made out of pigskins, right? They could have called them the pigskins and still trademarked the skins in some type of way and, probably made some money off of that. That probably would have caused a little bit of backlash too because they're still holding on to the word skins and so forth. I'm just saying you got to come up with something better than the Washington football team. That's all I'm saying. You had years of hoopla, and you're right. The years of 2020 is the year of correction. But the Washington football team, that seems like a name that they're going to use specifically for probably this year until they find a better new one. If I'm you, Dave, and you support the Washington football team, that better be it forever.
I would think that nobody else really supports the Washington football team. But how far are they going to go with this? Are they going to like now print? They're going to have like stuff made and printed, or they're just going to turn the other way until they figure it out and there's going to be no merch or no. That seems like a wasted money opportunity right there.
You might look at it differently. That might be more money because they're probably going to only print for this year, make money off of this year's funds, and then when they change the name next year, they'll make more money off of that year's funds. You're probably right.
Yeah, and think about that too. Like if the name changes and then this only exists for like 9 months, you're gonna want that shirt. You're gonna want that. This is gonna be a collector's item. So that would kind of help them if they rushed out a bunch of merch.
Dave, between me and you, nobody's listening. You were on the team, weren't you?
Yeah.
you're a team. You helped plan this out. You're brilliant. You're brilliant.
But the name doesn't really bother me. I kind of like it in a weird way. You'll never forget the team. It doesn't blend in.
No, that's true. It definitely doesn't. I only have 2 things on this. One, I'm glad they don't call themselves the Pigskins. I don't need a football team named after Satan. So that's the first thing.
Oh,
The second thing is I want to give a shout out to Philip Martin McCauley of the DMV area who went and copywrote every possible name that the Redskins could change their name to.
I'm going to jump in before you finish, Q. I think the word you're looking for is trademark.
Don't ever do that to me again. You understand me? You understand me?
That was a millennial thing. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
Don't you ever correct me, young boy. I told you about doing that. Now,
all right, my bad. Go ahead.
Now, even though right after I said it, I knew it was wrong, I tried to just ride it out. But the millennial over here caught it. But anyway, shout out to him for trademarking every possible name that they could change their name to. So now they're going to have to pay Macaulay if they do ever become anything other than the Washington football team, which is basic, but I don't think that's going to be the permanent solution. But they're going to have to pay Macaulay if they're going to change anything else because he has about 60 different names that are trademarked.
Wow, that's smart.
Yeah.
Shout out to Macaulay for trademarking literally every single thing except for the Washington football team.
Imagine how upset he is, like at his house right now. Like, how the hell did I not think of the football team?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the names that he wrote down, he was like, football team? Like,
and he created a website for each one because you can't just trademark it. You got to have a little something.
Oh,
so
yeah, you have to use it.
Each one has a little bit of a website.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to that guy. He wants a payday.
Well, that's a lot of time spent right there. So I think, give him some money.
Yeah. He threw all his chips to the middle of the table, man.
And just to be clear, Q, you have to be on your game today. David has a law degree. Courtney wants to make sure that you're in your tip-top shape.
Hey, my mom's a judge. I learned a lot of things through the house. I never won an argument, but I learned each time. It's like Mike Tyson beating you up every day. Eventually, you're going to knock somebody else out. You're going to learn as you go. So that's what I did with my mom.
You hear that, Dave? You pick on him, he's going to call his mom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd win an argument against the judge.
I was never able to, man. Not one time. I was
Yeah.
guilty my entire childhood. Guilty.
I appreciate the fact that me being the millennial and the young person, that your argument for Dave being a lawyer was that you're going to call your mother. But let's move on.
I didn't
So,
say that.
so sticking in sports, and usually, Dave, we usually don't do too many sports topics, but this one was just too great. The NBA, they have a bubble, right? And in this bubble, they're quarantining if you come in from outside of this bubble, and they test just to make sure all the players are safe. They have protocol. If you leave the bubble, just make sure you tell the league what you're doing, and then you're allowed to come back to the bubble as long as you're testing every day. There was an NBA player by the name of Lou Williams. He left the bubble. He said, hey, there's something going on with my family. There's been a death, very serious. He left. Problem, Dave, is that social media exists. And there was a rapper who took a picture of this basketball player in a strip club when he was supposed to be visiting his family. The rapper tried to take it back and say, hey, no, this was from a year ago or something like that. I just missed him, which is why I posted it. And the NBA player tried to say that he was eating wings and that's the only reason that he was there. That's besides the point. I want to know, Dave, what your thoughts are on an NBA player escaping a safety bubble in order to have chicken wings at a strip club.
I mean, social media really gets you every time. See, here's the thing. I mean, who thinks they could lie these days? It doesn't work. It just, I mean, you know, forget about the fact that you're not posting it yourself. Like, people have done this to me. Like, the other day, a couple weeks ago, I don't even know where I was. Someone's like, you're everywhere. And someone found a picture of me like in the background somewhere. I mean, it wasn't even in real time. That wasn't even the point. They were just like, what the hell were you doing here? And why were you? I'm like, how do you even notice me? I'm all the way in the back. Like, let me tell you, social media, it really gets you every time, right? Listen, I get the fact that someone needs to kind of escape the bubble, but can't you just say you're going? I mean, I don't know. Right. I mean, I guess there's really no way around that. I mean, listen, the guys probably shouldn't have been going out, right? But sometimes the strip club just calls now, doesn't it? So what happened after that? I mean, like, is when you go back, it's like this has become like a federal case now, like where they're just like, what the hell is going on?
So they gave him the maximum penalty, which was he has to be in quarantine for 10 days. And throughout these quarantines, you get tested each day. You get the COVID test each day to make sure that you haven't contracted it and so forth. So they gave him the maximum, which means that he had to wait 10 days. For other players who had family emergencies, they had to wait 4 days. But because there's evidence of him at a gentleman's club, he had the maximum penalty for 10 days. I'm going to let Q go first on this one because I see that he's marinating like a good chicken wing. And then I'll go afterwards. Q, what are your thoughts on Mr. Lou Williams?
Okay, first, on this very show, I said you cannot take 100 brothers, drop them into a bubble, and think that none of them are going to leave to go to a strip club. I said that, and I brought up James Harden. I know you remember. And now here we are, 2 weeks later. This is my issue with Lou Williams. He has 2 wives. 2! He already has variety. What are you doing? I knew it would be him. Because he's got that Puerto Rican hair, he's got that Dominican skin, and he's a guard. So he already thinks rules don't apply to him. So of course he slipped outside the bubble to do his thing, and he got caught. It's Lou Williams. He looks sneaky, and he's got 2 wives. How does this surprise anybody? How?
Now, I know in the past he was regarded to have 2 girlfriends. I don't know if he has 2 wives, but I know in the past there was an article about him having 2 girlfriends and so forth.
I'm glad you corrected him because I didn't want to do it again, right? He said 2
Lord.
wives, and we have a lawyer. Like, we've already said this. So you can't have 2 wives in like multiple states. I'm pretty sure that's like a law somewhere.
You lost me at the 2 wives part there.
Well, he lives with both of them.
Yes, he went on record to having 2 girlfriends. They knew about each other,
and they live together.
And
they all live in the one house.
That was in the past. I don't know if that's still current. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Maybe the chicken was that good, gentlemen.
Oh, for God's sake!
Maybe the chicken was that good, and he got carried away. He probably went for some wings, and then he probably picked up a thigh. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
Everybody likes a fried chicken thigh. I mean, you know what I mean? That's a good piece. The breasts are the biggest pieces. But he probably found the side to be juicy, so that's what he ended up picking up. I mean,
aren't you kidding right now?
I wouldn't do it. I got a mask on right now. I respect COVID. I'm just saying, maybe the chicken was good, and that's that. You're not believing me? You're not rolling with me on this one? No.
Listen.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Lou Williams has been running the triangle offense with these same two women since 2014. Now, common law is very close in this case,
So
and they
now,
all live in one house.
now you're dropping dates, so you went and Googled it. It
The
is what it
bottom
is.
line, it's been 6 years with him living with these two, and it was revealed in 2014. It could have been longer than that. This is a common law marriage thing he's got going on here.
The fact of the matter is he knew that he was wrong. Right, he knew that he was wrong so much so that he went and he had the rapper try to take down the post, and the guy went on record and said, "I missed him." Not many guys go on record saying, "I miss you." I don't really see it often on a tweet. You put somebody's picture up and say, "I miss you." So he got a friend in him. But that being said, he's wrong in 10 days. I low key wanted a complete suspension just to make the road easier for Brown.
Well, booty is more important than COVID-19 to some people, so you had to get out and blow some dollars because it's just COVID-19. It's just killing a whole bunch of people.
I mean, I hope it was worth it. I mean, I hope he got what he wanted.
I mean, all you get from the strip club is pink eye and a lighter wallet.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to go on record and say this. I've never been to a strip club, but I don't think pink eye is something that everybody gets. But apparently, Q, that's probably what you get every time you go. But hey, it is what it is.
I've gotten pink eye there, but more disturbing is that you've never been to one. That's the disturbing part, okay?
No, let's get this straight.
I don't think that's
Let's repeat this. Let's repeat this. What's more disturbing is the fact that I've never been to a strip club instead of the fact that you've gotten pink eye from one. That's what's more disturbing here.
Clearly, you've never been to one in Brazil.
So clearly, you and Lil Williams have been around.
I want to evacuate this topic. I don't want to hear any more about your pink eye Q in any strip club ever again. Dave, we have a president, and he is our president. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But every once in a while, he leaves us with some, should I say, like thoughts to chew on. That's what I'm gonna say. Some thoughts to chew on. It came out. Joe Biden was speaking. He said something that I'm sure Trump took offense to. He said Trump is the first racist U.S. president. And everybody can have their opinions on what Trump is or what he's not. But that hit home for Trump. So Trump obviously decided he was going to respond. And his response was, "I've done more for Black Americans than anybody with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln." Now, I'm not sure if you know some of the quotes, because Donald Trump has done a very good job comparing himself to people that he's done more for. Like, he said he's done more for the Christians than Jesus Christ. I think that was a quote. But the point is, he places himself on these pedestals, and we love to just get other people's opinions about like these quotes, like just to see what does it sound like from somebody else outside of Bruh, It's a Podcast, because we make our joke, but we love to see what you think.
Listen, I mean, at this point, there's nothing that he says that shocks me anymore. I mean, we're way past that. I mean, we were past that before he even became president, before he even began to run. I didn't hear this particular quote. I mean, now it's shocking. I mean, to be honest with you, the Jesus Christ one that you just referred to is even more shocking to me. I mean, I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but that's still just like absurd. These don't even register anymore for me. Like, I just don't even listen. They're so far-fetched. But I mean, obviously it's crazy, but I didn't realize he compared himself to Abraham Lincoln. I mean, that's just like, what do you guys think about this? I mean, I just feel I don't even listen. All the news was about was Trump. Now all it's about is COVID. What happened to like the variety in the news that we face every day here? So I just literally tune half of it out.
Yeah, no, I was going to say before you go, Q or E, David, you're right. We've dropped behind taking anything he said seriously. So we kind of like to laugh at like the outrageousness of it. And I think that's the best part for us. It's like, who's the next character, right? Like, no, Jesus wasn't enough. Like, we got to now take away the person who signed like slave abolishment. It's like, I didn't think that you could go past Jesus just in the fact of like Christianity, like that's an actual God. But he was like, no, let me take the meaning of slavery and what it's meant. And now I beat that. So it's almost like a TV show that we watch and just like giggle at every now and then.
And like, you have to wonder, I mean, like, I really do believe that he believes these things. How? Like, is anything, I mean, is this real, or are you in on the joke and you're saying this for shock value? Because I mean, I don't think so, but you'd almost have to wonder at this point.
Kennedy was the 35th president. You could make a case for the first 34 all being racist people. You can find something that the first 34 of them said up to John Kennedy. You can find something on each of them. Each one of them either owned slaves or said something stupid or something. You can find a case for pretty much all of them up to that point. And then after him, it gets sketchy with Nixon and the crew anyway. So yeah, that's a wild statement. But Biden, he says some crazy stuff.
Oh
You know,
man.
he does. I'm legally bound, so I can't talk about this stuff from a work standpoint. But what I will say is that if Biden's gonna win, somebody need to start telling him what to say. Because if it's not he likes little boys bouncing in his lap, it's Donald Trump's the first racist president. There has to be a limit on the stupid stuff Biden says if you want him to win. Because if he's saying stupid stuff and the guy that's there is saying stupid stuff, most people are going to say, well, it's already stupid. At least I know this stupid.
Dave, we affectionately refer to Joe Biden as Joe Cool on this show. Joe
You
Cool.
do.
I speak for the podcast. We call him Joe Cool. Call him Joe Cool because he speaks freely. Similar to our president, right? He speaks freely. He says whatever he wants. Brash, and he doubles down on everything. And as Courtney and you reference, he just keeps going farther and farther. But that's what won him presidency, right? He was new, he was absurd, and apparently the majority of Americans who voted like him. So that's that. So Joe Cool is over there just trying to take a page in his book, and that was a good political move on his behalf, calling Trump the first racist. That way, he paid respects to the others while only alienating that one to go on from there. Wasn't Joe Cool the one who said if you're black, you won't vote for Trump? Didn't Joe Cool say that too?
He said, "You ain't
yes,
black.
You ain't black
If you vote for Trump." That's what he said. You ain't.
Joe Cool is just following his footsteps. He's seeing that political strategy worked, and he's going to speak freely. And Dave, I know you know, older guys, they speak freely. They don't care.
Older people say whatever the hell they want. Yeah,
exactly.
I would absolutely agree.
Exactly. And Joe Cool, he's not the youngest runner, so he's doing what he wants to do. He's saying what he wants to say. And Q, you already referenced, if you turn 75, look out world.
Yeah, that's true. But Courtney takes out most things I say, so I'm not allowed to say whatever I want, and I'm the oldest one on the show.
You aren't 70 yet. Next week, you'll be able to say whatever you want.
That's very funny.
When you're old, it's true because you really don't care. Think about it. When we're old, we're going to just say whatever the hell we want. You're just not going to care anymore at all.
Exactly.
True.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know who, like Ryan Seacrest or whoever these like top-notch producers are. Somebody's got to just get together, 3 or 4 old people, sit them down, put a microphone in front of them, and just say, go to town, because that will be gold. Like, just let them talk about anything. It could be like their group home. It could be about something they see on television. It could be about cooking channels. Like, that to me is like prime level, like television that hasn't been done yet.
Well, Dave, since you are inside with the celebrities, Mr. Bravo aficionado, who would you think would be great, honest, genuine personalities for such a show? I don't want to say old because I don't want to get you in trouble, but people who are just genuine, say what they want to say and don't care.
Like in the reality TV world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think like you look at like a Bethenny Frankel, she doesn't care. I mean, first of all, Bethenny Frankel is so damn rich, she doesn't need to care anymore. She kind of won the game of Housewives, so she doesn't care. She'll say what she wants to. I mean, she's definitely at the top of the list. I mean, lately, it seems like more and more people, who also doesn't care? Miss Nene Leakes does not care. Does not care at all. I mean, Nene Leakes has been speaking out lately against Bravo, and that's like the one thing that they're all afraid to do. I mean, she's just like, if you look at her tweets and her Instagram, she's like literally speaking out against the network and just saying like they're not doing enough, like for racism and Black Lives Matter. Like Nene's just every day it's something. So that's kind of ballsy when you're criticizing the own network, and they still want her back for the new season. Like she hasn't even signed her contract yet, and yet this isn't jeopardizing. I mean, a lot of people, most people would already be the contract would already be pulled. So, like I would say, Nene and Bethenny are the two that come to mind. They just say whatever the hell they want. It's awesome. It's very entertaining.
Is that hard to find? Like people who are just really genuine?
Kind of. I mean, especially on Bravo, especially for the Housewives, because you built in this situation where like you can lose your job. Like, and you could lose any job, I get it, but it's like known that people get fired every year. So once you're there and you want to stay, you'll cause controversy against each other, but like speaking out against like a network and really speaking out about what's going on, I think they're all mostly trained like puppies after that contract is signed, and they're just like, let me stay.
Got you.
And until you get to, it's like Lisa Rinna now has been speaking out a lot, like until you get to a point where like you're like, I'm not going to get fired, or I truly don't care. I feel like there's this thing in the beginning that, and for a good amount of the years that, I don't think you really get the real deal of what's going on.
That's funny because that's similar to athletes or just about anybody, right? Once you're just starting to get into the game, you want to do what you can to maintain it, and then once you solidify, your chops, right? Once you're there, then you can finally be you, right? I feel like everybody happens to go through that.
And you're like, you're not going to fire me. I mean, they will eventually. When you realize that, like, you kind of want me back more than I care. I mean, the thing is, Bravo in particular, or like any of these networks, like, they don't care if you slam each other. Go ahead. Like, you could slam your castmates all day. I mean, that's great for ratings. You can do that. It's when you come and you start talking about the network and behind the scenes and breaking the fourth wall, and this is really what happened, and this is what producers wanted me to do. Like when you break the illusion to the rest of the world that doesn't really know of what's going on, and like, oh yeah, this is a show and this isn't really real, and these people really aren't really that good friends in real life, like that's when they care. If you slam your castmates all day, they don't care at all. They're like, go ahead and tear each other apart. Really just like breaking that fourth wall and like coming after the network, which I guess could be the same with sports. Like,
you literally described the NFL. As long as you protect the shield, everything is okay. You can talk about anybody you want. But that's interesting.
This is the same way. Just protect the shield and don't break the fourth. I mean, I don't know who's sitting at home that doesn't understand how it works. But then again, maybe not everyone does what I do all day. So. But still, like, I don't know. There's just people out there that don't really understand how TV is made and how it's not. Reality TV is not exactly really real.
Yeah, it's an illusion. How long were you in corporate law?
Way, way too long. Like 3 years, 4 years.
Okay.
I mean, it was so boring. You would like work on all these deals and you're like, you would only work on a piece of it. You never knew what was coming. You're just like, who cares? This is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I don't care if they pay this much in taxes. Who cares? They can afford it. Like, what is the tax? It was just so mindless.
So if you were doing it for 4 years, I mean, that actually took 4 years of the courage to say, you know what, I'm out of here. How long were you thinking it's time to leave? Like, how long did it take you to build the courage to be like, yo, it's time?
3.5 years.
so after 6 months, you was like, this ain't for me.
I was like, this is horrible. This is just
wow.
So, and then you go to school and it's a stable job, so you have your moments. But yeah, I mean, I was completely miserable. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go to work tomorrow.
What got you involved in what you're doing now? Like, what made you jump to reality TV?
So I had a lot of things in between law. I didn't just go from law to this. I went into HR and recruiting, and then like I did staffing. My story is really that I was a fan of all of these reality shows. Living in New York, that helped. I said, I want to be friends with these people. Like, this isn't like, Beyonce and, Tom Cruise. Like, this isn't like the upper echelon. Like, these are real people that have real lives. So I'm going to insert myself in this story. Like, I don't want to just sit around and talk about it. I mean, there's some people, there's podcasts that are in the reality genre where they just sit around and talk about what happened on the show. I'm like, I don't get that. I'm like, I'm going to insert myself in the story, and I really want to become friends with all of these people. Then it's a whole process of how one does that. But, there are ways, and living in New York and having access to all this, because like there's so many shows that are filmed here, helped. And so I really kind of became friends with a lot of these people. And then when I would hang out with them, things would happen. Now, anything really confidential, I won't talk about. But it's almost like, think of me, these both have negative connotations as words, but I'm kind of like a mole or like a spy. And so it's really like when you're hanging out with these people, the things that happen I'm like, these stories are probably interesting because all these people are obsessed with these reality stars. No one's watching this because it's not happening on camera. So I'm like, I knew there was a business model in there somehow. I just didn't know what it was. And I'm like, this is probably a podcast. So I started my podcast. I started talking about these stories. I'm like, I don't know if anyone even cares or if anyone's even listening. But it took off pretty quickly where people were like, what happened at that dinner with so-and-so and so on? Like there's enough non-confidential information that you can talk about that people just eat up every little. I mean, think about it from a sports point of view. If you're obsessed with like a sports team and you were at dinner with like 5 of them, and you now were talking about it, and all these sports fanatics were like, who did what at the dinner? You know, you're the only one that has the access to this because you're the only one that's there.
So you are an insider.
I'm an insider, but I'm still a fan as well. And so that's the thing. It's like, you know what the fans want to hear. So it's like you're kind of both. And then my show morphed into, because I know a lot of these people started asking if they could come on my podcast, and then I started booking guests. So it's turned heavily into like an interview show too, where I interview most of the people on reality TV. And because I'm friendly with a lot of them, you know, they come in, they're relaxed. I don't know what they're thinking because, I mean, in today's day and age, just assume that anything you say, I mean, first of all, you're on a podcast. So it's almost insulting. I'm like, do you think I'm like, no one's listening? So there are a lot of people that will come on my show. I mean, listen, if there's stuff we have to get to the bottom of, and I'm your friend, we're still going to get to the bottom of it. So I'll relax you, but then I'll go in for the kill. And there's questions like that. But then a lot of people, they come on, and then when their name is all over the press, that so-and-so, I'm like, I didn't say it. Like, why the hell? People come and will follow up with me and be like, I can't believe this. This just happened recently. And I'm like, I didn't say it. I asked you the damn question. You could have answered it in 12 different ways. Did you think no one was listening? Like, now I'm insulted. Now I'm insulted. So, I mean, that happens too. So it's, believe it or not, it's actually harder a lot of times to do the job being friendly with a lot of these people. I almost don't necessarily want any more friends that are on reality TV. Because here's the thing, you get those calls. I get calls and texts in the middle of the night, like, wait a second, can you edit that out? Can you take that out? The minute someone says that was great, can we just hop on a call? I'm like, oh no, here it comes. And the minute they want to talk to you on the phone, you're like, this person is going to ask me to take something out, which I have a lot of problems with that. I mean, have I taken small things out before? Yeah. But, you know, it's this weird dichotomy of like, who's your loyalty towards? Like yourself? Your loyalty is towards the audience, I feel. Like if something's going to really change the conversation or something major, I won't take it out.
Well, Dave, I feel like we have a very important question to ask because it seems like you figured this out. And I don't want any of the words you use to be email, letter. Let me see. What are some of the regular other words? I'm going to say email or letter. We need the sneaky ways to get some of the guests that we're also looking to get that are impossible to get. Like either you can't use email, but you can use blackmail if that's a method that you've used. We can do anything that ranges from like kidnapping. Like what can we do? Maybe not to get like Beyonce, but like Beyonce's sister, and then we can work our way up to
Solange.
Beyonce, you know? Yes. There. See, I wasn't trying to name names because he's a lawyer. I'm trying to keep him out of trouble.
No,
But why would we want Solange?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because she slapped Jay-Z.
No, I'm telling you, the strategy of going for like the side characters, that's always, it's a great thing. Because first of all, I found people like the underdog. So like if you go for the Solange, or like people like other people that are related to someone. So like if you got like Beyonce's hairdresser, I'm just giving you, it's like someone like known but is kind of related, like a side character. Trust me,
A trainer.
it's a more interesting show than you think because, you know, assuming the person's not under an NDA, believe it or not, those are the best guests because they say anything. They're not media trained.
Yeah.
You hint out. They're not media trained.
Let me write this down.
They don't have their canned answers, and you're just like, this train is going off the tracks, and I'm here for it. Those are really good guests, I'm telling you. But I mean, like, so I would say, can you say the word DM? Are you considering a direct?
No. Yeah, see, DM is, but you know, you've given me an idea, so I'm going to let you off the hook. So, guys, that means we got to go for LeBron's hairdresser, right? Like, we have to go for Beyonce's sock developer. I don't know if that's a thing now when you're that famous, like someone who just like knits their socks. Like, we've been thinking too close. We got to get a little bit more obscure. And
LeBron's hair person does not do a good job. I don't know if we want him on the show.
That's probably a reason why we should interview him.
Like,
Because-
LeBron's looking like George Jefferson.
And like sometimes it's a miss. Don't get me wrong. Like sometimes you'll go and you'll be like, "Oh my god, what did I do? Why is this person here?" But for the most part, it ends up working out. But that's the
Wow.
other thing too about guests I've had on. At least for me, I can never predict. There are people where I'm just like, yeah, this person's coming on. I'm not excited. And then it'll
they
be
blow
like,
you away.
yeah, and that's happened. And then other people where it's like a bigger name, you're like, this, I can't even believe I got this person. And I'm still great because I'm like, this is a great name to say I interviewed. But like the show is like, this person doesn't want to reveal anything or talk about anything. And I don't even know why you agreed to this. You just want to promote your damn book. You could have promoted that in like 1 minute. So you'd be surprised. Like you never can tell sometimes. Like sometimes the bigger the name, it ends up just being like a blah show.
All right, so you guys make sure that you write down all of these notes. And don't worry, Dave, we will not say your name in any of these blackmailing letters that we use. Anything illegal, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you're clear. All right?
Wow.
I'm trying to think if I'm not above like blackmailing or bribing or I can't think of anything I've really done, but I definitely, when I have a target, like I'll stay on it. Like I will stay on you. And then, eventually move on. But like sometimes people just, I swear, they like don't get back and then you ask them again. And it's like, I'm telling you, sometimes I think it's just timing.
Honestly, Dave, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining
man.
us. This is the first time that we've had like another fellow podcaster on. So it's like, you know what we go through. You understand our experiences. And this was actually great to get another like POV from somebody else that's in the same lane as us. So this was awesome.
And it's not so
Yeah,
easy,
man.
right? Like everyone thinks having a podcast is like you turn on a mic and you talk and like, how fun is that? I'm like, listen, slow it down. It's a lot of work, right?
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
the thing is, Q&E don't really know about that. So like, I understand what you're talking about, Dave. Like
Yeah.
Q&E,
Oh,
yeah, these are
God.
just like the talent. They wake up in the morning. You know how Beyonce says, like, I woke up like this. Like, that's what those guys are.
So that's what
Wow.
we're gonna do. We're just gonna air our dirty laundry out because I got backstories for you, Dave. If that's what you want, I got backstories for you, Dave. If that's what we're gonna do here, if that's what we're gonna do
You have your own little reality show right here.
here.
Throw your drink at Courtney.
It's gonna be hot tea.
Seriously.
Well, before we let you go, Dave, where can we find you? Where can the people locate you?
You can find me on Instagram at Behind Velvet Rope or on Apple at Behind the Velvet Rope. And if you like reality TV, you would love my podcast. It's interviews. If someone has been on a show, current or past, chances are I've interviewed them or am about to interview them. So Behind the Velvet Rope or at Behind Velvet Rope on Instagram.
Wonderful. Well, Dave, I want to thank you so much for taking your time out for being with us. We definitely had a great time hearing your perspective and so forth, hearing your story. It's wonderful, man. Thanks a lot.
You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. You're all wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate you, man. And I'm following Dave now. I just want to point that out.
You
on
got it,
Instagram.
Colin. Thank you.
I'm already-
Now you're my
I'm there.
favorite. You're officially my favorite.
There you go.
I'm
There you
following
go.
you back. Listen, it's all about the Instagram follows.
In about 3 weeks, I'll be interviewing your show to let you know what's happening behind Birds of Podcast.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. That was our first podcaster, and he came in prepared. What do you guys think?
He was awesome, man.
Yeah,
He came
cool
through and
guy,
he did his
man.
thing.
Yeah, so I mean, he did basically give us the illegal and legal ways to get the guests that we're looking for. So how about that? Huh?
You got to do what you got to do out here.
Exactly. That's why, you know what we're going to do, E? We're going to pimp Courtney out to get the people we want on the show. Think about it. He's the youngest guy. He's Caribbean, so you know he can go.
All right. All right.
gonna
All right.
put-
All right. All right.
we're
All right.
gonna-
All right. We're
God!
done. We're done. End the show. Just end the show.
Come
Just
on,
end
man.
the show. Just end the show.
We're going to put one of those corny Henley shirts on him that he wears and put him out, get us some money, get who we need to have on the show. What did I say that was so bad?
What if nobody wants him? Because he's also the ugliest.
He is, but you know them ugly Caribbean dudes, bro. You know what
Stop
they be bringing, bro.
talking about
I
the
heard them
Caribbean- oh.
stories. I'm saying, I heard them
You
stories, man.
You
Shopper
found out in
ranks,
prison.
bro.
All right. Hit with the outro.
Okay, I don't understand how we can go from I'm now being used to be sold out, then I'm too ugly to be sold out, and then I'm a combination of being ugly and being still sold out. That's just kind of crazy,
Okay,
guys.
E said the ugly stuff. I didn't say
Okay.
that. I don't think you're ugly. I just think you need a mustache. But I don't think you're ugly.
All right, so everybody, thank you for coming in today. It was a great episode.
Yo,
We like
follow
to
Dave. Follow David in every aspect. He's
Yes,
great. He's
please.
hilarious. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Show some support, people.
Also, make sure you follow us at Bruh It's a Podcast. Check out our autobiography.
They're
visual highlight
hilarious.
series.
The commercials are coming, people. They coming.
Also, we got some big news coming for you guys in a couple of weeks. We got a lot of content to give you guys.
Yo, we talking way too much this episode.
Leo
man.
season.
What?
Leo season.
Hit it with the outro.
Bruh, 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 bruh. It's a podcast.